Cool part here, we're not only available on the radio, we're available on YouTube. Hopefully the audio is working. I'm trying out something new tonight. If it doesn't work, I apologize, but it's a struggle. I'm hosting and producing and doing all this stuff. We're having fun. Having more fun than the Blazers are, man. Hey, fifth quarter, hit those phone lines, 503-248-0620. We'll talk about this one. But Preston, man, it was the Norman Powell revenge game. The absolute revenge game. 32 points from Norm. And the thing was, they knew what he was going to do. I believe it was Chauncey Billups postgame said, oh, he's going to go right. He's going to go right. They know what he's going to do. Couldn't stop it.
Yeah, I mean, the Blazers just ran out of gas, man. They're playing shorthanded. Ant and Jeremy absolutely went crazy this game offensively. And then when Grant fouled out down the stretch, they're running out of bodies. They're running on empty, and their defense suffered as a result.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't know. I don't know how to explain this one, man. Just out of sorts.
It's a bad loss.
It is. This is easily the worst loss of the season to this point, because we sat here all year long and we've talked about how, hey, it's okay. You don't have Damian Lillard. I like what I'm seeing. You go on this tough 4-game road trip. Yes, you end up losing to Milwaukee, but for spurts, you looked good. You end up losing to the Cavaliers, but again, really good team. For spurts, you look good. You get to win against the Knicks. Brooklyn. It's kind of tough, but you've seen things here and there like, oh, that's a loss. I can explain it. No, Dame, we're okay, right? Oh, that's a loss. I can explain it. Jeremy Grant was out. That's okay. Whatever it is. This one, though, you were playing a couple former Blazers in Batum, Rocco, and Norman Powell. And I believe Rocco ended up having his best game of the season as well for the Clippers. Shot 6 of 8, scored 15 points against his former team. It was the revenge game for both of them. But no Paul George, no Kawhi Leonard, obviously. Name after name sat.
John Wall ended up sitting.
Right.
Luke Kennard ended up sitting.
And, dude, Kennard's good. John Wall's good. It's brutal. That's the worst loss. That's the worst loss they've had.
Yeah, awful loss. And especially because they played so well for 3 quarters. I mean, they were up 17 or so in the third quarter. It looked like Ant and Jeremy Grant were never going to miss a 3. And then, dude, I really think it's just not having bodies right now, because we've seen a couple different fourth quarter collapses from this team in recent games, and they're just out of gas.
Out of something. They're out of sorts in this one. Couple things, though, that you do have to do. One thing before we get into some of the real bad, we got to give props to Josh Hart. I mean, pun intended, right? But, dude, showed heart tonight. Showed massive heart. I don't know if you saw the replay there. You could hear it on the radio if you're listening to the radio call. He's hurt. He's limping. He rolled the heck out of his ankle. I mean, it did not look good. Stayed on the court, got through a defensive possession. Then he gave Chauncey the signal, hey, I need out. Got out, went back to the locker room, got back in the game. You could tell he was laboring, but boy, that did not look good. But he did. He showed the heart. Absolutely showed the heart.
Yeah, no, he's been, and I mean, he was crashing the boards. He knows the role that he needs to play for this team right now, which is a guy who hustles on defense and gets rebounds and does the dirty work. And even though he's not necessarily the physical prototype of a player who would have that role, he's thrown his body in there. You got to give it to him.
Shout out to our followers here kind of joining us on YouTube right now. The Orb. He truly does the teamwork. He does God's work for us. He's out here always telling me when the audio's a little off, a little that, and I love it because sometimes I can't monitor. Tonight, I'm trying to monitor YouTube audio and produce and do a lot of things right now. I'm making my job harder than it is on a normal night, but we're having fun with it, and we'll get through it together. But remember, you can find us on YouTube at Rip City Radio. If tonight has a couple hiccups, I do apologize, but hey, man, it's par for the course. Every once in a while, you're going to hit some choppy waters, kind of like the Blazers did tonight, right? Hey-ho. But Preston, we just said a little bit of a good, which was the heart that we liked from Josh Hart, right? What do you guys think was good? What was bad? Hit us, 503-248-0620. I know Ken in Vancouver's out there just itching to call. The bad. We got to get to it. The elephant in the room. This was another game Well, yes, you did have the best center in the league in Ivica Zubac, right? Not really, but when you pull down 29 boards, you got to get some respect. Yusuf Nurkic, man. Yusuf Nurkic. 13 points, 10 rebounds, 6 of 15 shooting. Not a great night considering the Clippers were hosed. They didn't have any healthy bodies, really. If they're going to throw Robert Covington at you or a few minutes of Moses Brown or Jason Preston, who you over there, Preston, who threw you off?
First NBA bucket tonight. I remember that kid. I remember that kid from Ohio. He was on a team that made March Madness. He was good.
You should feast, though. You should have feasted.
You should.
Instead, this is the bad part, is because without Dame, you still are depending on your two guys, and that is Ant and Jeremy. 37 from Ant, 32 from Jeremy Grant, who, again, had just a phenomenal game by every metric. He continues to perform every single night. He still can't rebound, but he continues to perform. He continues to fill up the points stats there in the box score. You can rely on him. You can rely on everybody else. I mean, you need more than 9 points from Josh Hart. And granted, the ankle was hurt, but you definitely need more than 13 from Yusuf Nurkic if Damian Lillard's not going to play.
Dude, Jeremy Grant, 12 of 24 from the field for 32 points. Ant Simons, 13 of 24 from the field for 37. You should never lose a game, or you should lose in spectacular fashion because the other team had Luka going for 50 if those are the stat lines on your team. I mean, you shouldn't be down 6 late in the fourth. It's the lack of bench production right now, man. Shaden Sharp, 5 points. Nas, 1 point. Watford, 3. Eubanks, 2. They have no bench right now. Absolutely no bench. Again, Winslow, 34 minutes. Ant played 43 minutes tonight. I mean, there's just no bench on this team, and here's a player you can be critical of. He just got money. Nas Little. Not a ton of money, but he got, 28 mil, 7 mil a year? What are we doing? 0 for 0, 1 point, 1 turnover, 1 rebound, nothing else. I mean, where's the production?
Right. That's tough. Now, he did hurt his hip. I mean, he did took a scary fall, stayed down for a minute. That's no fun. But, yeah, I agree with you. You got paid, man. Show up. Time to show up. I don't get that one. He's been interesting, Preston. That's the good word. Interesting. Because he's just been so up and down. He's been hidden in a way. He hasn't stood out. He hasn't done anything really, truly that has been either great that makes you go, oh, man, he needs to get minutes. He hasn't done anything awful that makes you go, oh, man, you need to find a way to get him off the court. He just kind of sits in the middle. That's what he does. They got to figure out a way to get him going. They got to figure out a way to get guys like Yusuf Nurkic to get going. Still, it's going to be interesting. Quote, it's going to be interesting when Gary Payton comes back, if he comes back. You know, he hasn't played a game yet. All right, 503-248-0620 is your phone number. The lines are starting to line up. Let's go out to the preacher. Welcome into the fifth quarter.
Hey, thanks for having me, man.
Yeah.
Hey, I just thought the game is an unacceptable loss. Would you agree?
Yes, I would, 100%.
100%. And where we are is where we are. It's cool. But deep down inside, I felt like we should have won this game. And, I mean, not only did we get to 100 first, we got to 110 first. And we were in a situation where we could win. And that hurt to see us lose and all these Blazer faithfuls go there. But I'm going to give you my man, the soapbox, okay?
Do it.
I'm going to hand him over. He's going to give his 2 cents. I don't know how they light up the bench, but they got to fucking fire him, these guys. Because Shaden Sharp has not played the same since Dame's been out. And, none of them have played the same since Dame's been out. And they need to find that heart deep within them to actually play as hard with Dame on the court as they do, or off the court as hard as they do with Dame on the court. I'm going to hand you back over. I'm driving. So, we're faithfuls, man. We love you guys. Rip City, Chad Doing, we love you. We love this station. 620, go.
All right, Preacher, thanks for the call. And hey, I get it. The faithful continue to be faithful, man. The season, it has its ups and downs. It has its ebbs and flows. That's the unfortunate part. But yeah, you do need to get some more performance out of some of these people. Now, let's go to the YouTube chat before we get back out to the phone lines. You were talking about Nasir Little needed to step up, and you're getting some people like a Han in King City who says, what? You can't blame the bench. They barely played. And when they do, the starters don't pass them the ball. Now, I get what you're trying to say, and I think that's kind of fair. But at the same time, Nasir Little had 1 point. One. Yes, he did get hurt, but he did play 15 minutes prior to that. You need more than 1 point out of Nasir Little.
Basically the Roy Hibbert dead man stat line. He had 1 point and 1 rebound. And I like the guy. I still think he can be something for this team. I still think he's that combination of can be a tenacious defender and can do the dirty work. But I get that. I'm not asking him to score 14 points, but the Blazers just need more production from the bench, plain and simple. I mean, it's not a sustainable strategy to have Jeremy Grant and Ant shooting 50 times a game.
Yeah, I feel that. That's the bad part, though, right? Because you're just like, but Dame is not here. Different things could happen. But the thing is, the Clippers just did what you thought the Blazers should have done, right? They weren't missing just their Dame. They were missing their Dame, their Ant, their Jeremy Grant. Like, they were missing all of their big guys. Like I said, I think there's a lot of people who don't pay attention and go, oh, Luke Kennard. Yeah, Luke Kennard's pretty good, guys. And they were missing all those guys, and they took care of business. So that's what needs to happen with Portland. If you're missing Dame, you still need to find ways to take care of business. Now, the next person on the line is going to be super optimistic because I love this caller because he always finds the happy no matter what. Kiernan, you're on the fifth quarter.
Hi. Just want to tell you thank you for filling in for Chad tonight, by the way.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, yes, and by the way, I just want to say I'm still proud of the team tonight. Yeah, I thought they did put in a good effort tonight.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And I do agree with that one caller. I do think Nurkic could step it up in his game a little bit, but after all, I do think it was a pretty good game tonight.
Yeah, the loss though, you got to admit, Kieran, even if you the loss isn't very
even
good.
With the loss, the loss wasn't good though.
See, but what I say right before you got on, I said I like this caller because he always tries to find the positive.
Mm-hmm.
We need more people like you, Kieran. Don't get too down.
Mm-hmm.
You just stay happy, and I love it.
Yeah. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes. Well. All right. Thank you.
Yeah, man. Thank you. Thanks for calling. As always, told you, man. Kieran, always happy. All right, YouTube watchers, don't go anywhere. We will be right back. As for the radio. Lockhart here, filling in for Chad Doing tonight. Man, Blazers, like I said, tough one. They go out, drop one to the Clippers, 118 to 112. You can join us on YouTube. We're over there at Rip City Radio. You can join the phone lines, 503-248-0620. We'll get out to the phones in a second, but I got to address YouTube. I love the fact that people are commenting. Again, you and I had just talked about Nasir a little bit, had some callers say as much as well. I dogged him for only having a point. Han in King City. Now, Han, jump in the chat and tell me if I'm pronouncing that wrong. Is it Han, like Han Solo, or like Han, as in like hand? I want to make sure I'm pronouncing your name correctly. But you jumped in the chat and are dogging me for dogging on Nasir, because you're like, you're dogging him for only scoring 1 point. He took 0 shots. Now, that's fair. That's an absolutely fair thing to say. But I personally would like to see Nasir Little just be more aggressive. When you get the ball in your hand, take some shots. He does tend to pass it out of his hand a little too much when he gets it. I just want him to be more aggressive. He only had 1 point and 0 shots. As you said, that's a fact. But I want to see him taking more than 0 shots, because you're not going to score more than a handful of points if you're not taking shots. You're just getting free throws. That's my point, is I want to see it be more aggressive. Now, the point that he came back with is, that's the point guard's job to get the ball in his hand, and I think that's fair because, again, this team, one bugaboo early on has been what? Going back to too much iso ball and lacking ball movement. So I think there's a lot to it. Han. So, but thanks for the pushback. Like I said, I love the pushback because it makes for good combo. As he chimed in, it's Han, like Han Solo. Thank you, because I want to make sure I was pronouncing your name correctly. Preston, what do you got?
Oh, no, I was just going to say, I'm not saying Nas needs to get up 20 shots a game or 10 shots a game. I just think it's just a product of the whole bench and just be a playmaker, man. Like, yep, some of that is on Ant and Grant for just trying to go ISO, but I don't know, just the whole team, like get in there, talk to each other, tell each other to communicate more. And Chauncey's even said that in post games, like, hey, we need to be a team. We need to play as a team. We don't want to isolate too much. And, I'll tell you what, Ant and Jeremy really had it cooking tonight, and it still didn't work in terms of winning. So this game should kind of prove, hey, man, iso ball doesn't win, even if it looks great.
Yeah, there's another great point here in the chat, and I apologize to our YouTubers who don't get to see Preston, because as I had to run this new setup to actually run it today, I don't have a camera in there. I apologize, Preston. You think I'm doing it on purpose? I know.
No.
But no,
You're good.
As one of our comments on YouTube pointed out, Sue, what was Reggie Jackson doing in that game? Do they not have concussion protocol?
Yeah, that was a total where's the booth review from the league situation.
Oh, he hit his head hard, and if you saw the tweets from some of the people who were at the game, some of the reporters, they were like, yeah, what's he doing in the game? That's kind of weird. All right, phone lines are open, 503-248-0620. Let's head out there now to my man, the one who didn't call first tonight, and it shocked me, but he's there, Ken in Vancouver. Ken, welcome into the fifth quarter.
Couldn't watch the game at home because it was TNT, so we went out to an establishment and had dinner and watched the whole game. And I must say, maybe it's because it's the one national, the TNT game, but that was a gut punch tonight, and it was one of the tougher losses to me because of the reason that you're dominating them. At the end of three quarters, you've got two of your guys going nuclear, especially Ant there in that third, and the Blazers got fat and full. They went into the fourth quarter thinking, this baby's over. We don't have to play hard anymore. We don't have to do what got us there. And we're going to let guys who shouldn't be shooting the ball shoot the ball. And then the guys who need to shoot the ball are going to make extra stupid passes or go 1-on-3 into the lane when they should keep shooting from outside. And it was so frustrating to see those, again, another game where ex-Blazers come back and look like all-stars. Rocco's been, because he doesn't play, he's been awful this year. Norman Powell, only getting, you play fantasy basketball, he doesn't get the opportunities he used to in Portland. Well, tonight he looked like the Portland Norman Powell. He was pretty doggone awesome. And then Nick Batum, who's the most annoying guy in the world, with his slappy, get away with his slaps and stuff on the arm defense.
No. Come on, Ken. You take Nick Batum back here in a minute.
No, I wouldn't actually. I just would not. No, I like the guys. He does get away with a lot of slapping. Of course, if he was in a Blazer uniform, he'd probably be getting called for those. So let's just put it in. And to Reggie, why was I not on the way to Emmanuel Legacy Hospital after being on the ground looking like World Cup soccer guy who got shot and killed, and he was bound for a coma and a stretcher? All of a sudden, oh, I'm fine, I'm good, I'm going to light it up. It's just so frustrating. And to see Zubac and his whiny little face, that's the guy who was in your school, and you just barely grazed him in line, and he falls to the ground, and you get sent to the principal's office. My God, I'm like, come on. But I just think we got fat and full, Chris, and it was a tough loss. It was, to me, it was one of the tougher losses. And it's, regroup. The season's still young, but they're, like they said, they're young. You just got to get used to it.
All right, you pointed out a lot of the things you don't like about the Clippers. What about the Blazers really did you not like in this one tonight?
Okay. We talked about Nas. First of all, Nas has turned into a really nice spot-up shooter from outside. Why does this team not set picks for him so he can let loose of that beautiful...
Got Dan in Southeast as well.
...beautiful flick of his? Instead, we see Nas struggling to get inside or ramble off. This team, other than Nurk, nobody sets good screens on this team. Nurk is the only good screen setter. So can we have Nas in there with guys who can set screens? Because he should be shooting the ball from outside. Now, that was an awful-looking injury. I hope it's not. And he was fouled, by the way, on it. As he was going down, he's going down, but the guy literally hits him off pace, and that looked like where he really hurt himself. So I hope he's going to be okay. But they just don't utilize what they have in him. He is a good spot-up shooter, and a lot of those other guys who are playing big minutes aren't, and that's a frustrating thing that I saw. Number two is Ant. You're killing it from outside. You're euphoric from outside. What's with this driving in, putting yourself in on three defenders, two possessions in a row, and that was a huge turning point in this game in that fourth quarter. Got up two awful shots. He was so beautiful up until the fourth quarter. Just come on, man. Do what you do best, man. That is not, first of all, a guy like him with those hops, why don't you go in and dunk it once in a while in traffic? You know what I mean? Just go in and dunk it in traffic. Quit this layup crap. Jeremy's foul, can you tell me this? I was a little frustrated. It didn't look like Reggie Jackson was set to me. Was that one that they should have challenged? I don't know. I'm just asking.
Yeah, I think it was one of those ones. It felt like it was like a 50-50 thing. Like it could have gone either way. You never know how those challenges go. You don't want to go in there, waste the time out in a game where you might have needed it. And, Chauncey has been kind of very judicious in his challenges, right? But I think that's one they might have been able to win. I mean, you pointed it out. The broadcast pointed it out as well. Like, I don't know if he's set. So, yeah, it's just one of those weird situations. I think hindsight's 20/20, right?
Yeah, to me, having those extra timeouts at the end was like Jeff Saturday going home. I guess there's a deal at a flea market. You give up two timeouts for a free towel or something. But I just feel like that was a place, because it was a sixth foul. You know what? That doesn't look like he's set. And this is his sixth foul. If we lose Jeremy here, we are in a deep world of hurt, because then they're going to just be able to concentrate on shutting down Ant. He's going to have to put the ball into guys who shouldn't even be shooting. And, and I'm going to give Nurk a pass on this, because when you get slapped and hit a ton and you don't get calls, and the other guy goes to the free throw line numerous times for the same kind of contact, it gets frustrating. And he flopped a little bit for sure in the fourth, because he was just, I'm not getting any call. What do I have to do to get a call? So I guess I got a flop, and then that made him look even worse. But I'm going to give him a pass tonight. I thought his effort was good. I don't think they utilized him good enough. I think he's a way better center than Zubac. Zubac, by the way, came back down to earth. Yes, he had a double-double, but a lot of it was aided by the love from the refs. So I'm not blaming this game on the refs. The Blazers got fat and full and lost it on their own. But you got to utilize the guy's strengths. And at the end of that fourth quarter, it just was a cluster. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, Ken, thanks for the call, as always. And you're right, fourth quarters, they aren't very fun right now. That's 2 games in a row. Portland has scored 17 points in the fourth quarter. That's pretty inexcusable, especially when you look at the fact that they went 30, 31, 34 in the first 3, and then 17 in the fourth. Outscored big time. Outscored by 19 by the Clippers in the fourth quarter. End up losing by 6. Math tells me that had a big thing to do with it. That was a big reason. All right, phone lines are open, 503-248-0620. Let's head out to Dan in Southeast. Dan, how we doing?
We're doing just fine, man, and I'm another optimist on the loss tonight. But first of all, just a shout-out to Nasir, because when he went down, I thought that was rough, just his reaction after he fell, and I was really surprised to see him walking under his own power. So thankful that it's not as bad as it could have been. He didn't score tonight, and he was doing other things. He was getting involved, I thought, at different points. I thought he played pretty good defense, and I just want to observe it's hard when you don't know night to night, what kind of role you're going to be playing or how many minutes you're going to be playing. And I get that he hasn't been consistent, so it puts Billups in a tough spot. But this is kind of downside of Billups' approach this season so far, because he doesn't know what he has in a lot of guys. So he's, playing with different rotations and trying different lineups and stuff. But the downside for a guy like Naz who's trying to come back is it makes it really hard to know, are you going to play 7 minutes? Or are you going to play 20, 22 minutes? They had a lineup out there in the third that was, I think it was Hart, Little, Winslow, Grant, Nurkic. I looked, and that lineup's played like 15 minutes all season. So it's just the downside of Billups trying different things. It can be hard to know where you fit in the offense and where you fit in the scheme. I don't understand putting any of this on Nurkic. He had 13, 10, and 7, and he had 3 blocks, and he stayed out of foul trouble, and he set good screens and played good defense. Like, that's the best case Nurk. I don't think that's the problem. I think the problem is we're dealing with lowered expectations, because the reality is this is a solid play-in team without Dame. I really.
Phones are hot
in the West this year. That's what it looks like. But as I was watching the game, I was trying to, I was seeing this loss take shape in the last couple of minutes. I was trying to figure out, like, why isn't seeing this team lose as irritating as it was, like, in the later half of the Stotts era, where it was so inconsistent and you just didn't know what team you were going to see night to night. Well, we've kind of had that. We've had some nights where they seem dominant and other nights where the bench can't score and everything. And I was like, it just doesn't feel as frustrating as it has in years past. And maybe it's because of the euphoria of, the hot start and everything. But I think it's more that there are more guys on this team that you can just take to the bank that they're going to bring it. They may not score, we may not win, but, like, I never question whether Drew Eubanks is going to be out on the floor ready to play. I don't question that with Josh Hart. They've got guys that they're going to give effort. Maybe they win, maybe they don't, but that, I think, is the consistency that we've seen more or less, and the renewed commitment on the defensive end is why it's easier to take a loss like this. The Clippers are good. They're a championship team when Kawhi and PG are there. And the fact that they're ahead of us, despite playing a lot of minutes without either of those guys, they're veterans. And they're also big. Like, this is one of these games where, for one of the first times this season, I'm like, yeah, that's why you maybe should have gotten another big. Like, it's Nurk and Drew and Grant subbing in, and then it's a bunch of small ball guys. Yeah. And when you have Zubats and Morris up front, that's going to cause problems. So, what else? I'm not freaking out about Sharp coming back to earth. Like, that's actually, not only is that to be expected, that's fine. Like, we're a quarter way through the season, and it's like mission accomplished with him, because we know the ceiling. We know that we got something good. We know that the ceiling's as high as we could have reasonably expected. Like, it looks really good. That's a luxury. Now we have the luxury. If we didn't know, if he was exploding one game and a complete, wet fart the next game, we know what he can do if he's given minutes and he takes a more prominent role in the offense. So now we can take the rest of the season and maybe cut back his minutes. It's going to have to happen anyway when GP2 comes back. So I'm okay with that. Tough loss, but we're still in the mix. Dane will be back soon. GP2 coming to lineup. Can't wait. Rip City, glass half full.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, Dan, thanks for the call. And let me rebuttal real quick. Let me say some of the things back to you. First off, your point on Sharp, I think, spot on. Yes, he is coming back down to earth, so to speak. But is he really? We don't know where earth is for him. He is just getting minutes and experiencing the game, and it's going to take time. But we've seen the flashes to know how good he can be at the top end. I think he's going to be pretty good. Now, everyone likes to throw out the Kobe comparisons, and that's fine and dandy. I'm not going to say he's going to be Kobe Bryant, but even the great Kobe Bryant, look at Kobe Bryant's rookie year. He had some ups and downs, quite a few downs, actually. Didn't look great. So it's going to take time. I'm with you there on Sharp. Now, Yusuf Nurkic. The hang-up with Yusuf Nurkic is the fact that let's look real quick at the box score, okay? You look at Ivica Zubac, who had a double-double. Yusuf Nurkic had a double-double as well, 13 points, 10 rebounds. Ivica Zubac had a double-double, 12 points, 13 rebounds. But Ivica Zubac shot 62% from the field. Yusuf Nurkic shot 40. Granted, he took 3 3-pointers and made one of them. You take the 3-pointers out of the equation, he still shot 41% from the field, and every single one of his 2-point attempts was within the circle, like at the rim. For a 7-footer, you got to shoot better than 40% at the rim. That is inexcusable, okay? Now, I'm not putting, to be completely clear, I'm not putting the whole loss on any one guy. I'm just looking at what I think could have been better, and that was one. You just need to be a little bit more efficient with those shots. But again, the 7 assists are huge. But I just want to be more efficient because I still like Yusuf Nurkic. I know there's a lot of people who like Yusuf Nurkic, as frustrating as he can be. I just want to see great Nurk more often because when you get great Nurk, it's pretty flippin' awesome. All right? And then Nasir Little, you made a point, Dan, I thought was a great point. And it's about kind of changing your role all the time. And he's played various roles, right? And so Trenton Watford is another one that I thought of when you brought that up because he's played small ball 5. The last few games, you've actually seen him playing more of that Winslow role where he's taking the ball and bringing it up the court and kind of initiating the offense. And not only do the Blazers not know what they have and they're trying to figure that out, Joe Cronin has said multiple times that this team's roster as constructed is not done, right? So you know there's going to be some possible trades down the road. And at that point, you want to know what you have. What are you going to keep? What are you going to get rid of? It's obvious that Chauncey Billups wants a guy that can play multiple positions and kind of be that point forward. So is it a Winslow? Is it a Wofford? Is it a Nasir, right? And I do think that plays in to what you see from Nasir being up and down because you made a great point that I don't think enough people have thought about, myself included. And that's why we love when you call in, Dan. When you don't know your role, it takes a little bit to adjust to it, figure out what you're doing. All right, YouTube fans, don't go anywhere. I'm going to bump your music up. It's not going to go on radio. It's just special for you. We're going to cut to a break. We'll be right back there on YouTube. evening, and we're having some fun. You can find us on YouTube where the chat is rolling. Everyone's having some fun. I tried to post a link in the YouTube chat there so people could get the sweet elevator jams, but I don't think the link posted properly because, they're like, oh, we don't want you posting links in here, you spammer. Oh, I'm not a spammer. I'm the one running the stream. Come on, YouTube. Unbelievable.
Just driving traffic to their website. What are they doing? What are they doing?
YouTube's loving us.
We're just putting amazing content on their website.
YouTube is loving us right now, by the way, for our sweet elevator music that we have to play during the breaks.
Yeah, they should be.
For those of you listening on the radio, you get Pitbull, right?
Right.
That's what
we're bringing the Mr. Worldwide Energy back here.
But me, on YouTube, you got to make sure we use some copyright-free music so that we don't get that DCMA and get pulled off YouTube. So I got to go with the elevator jams. All right, phone lines are open, 503-248-0620. You can get on YouTube as well at Rip City Radio. There is a link on my Twitter as well as the Rip City Radio Twitter. But let's go out to the phone lines right now where Lance has been waiting patiently. Lance, welcome into the fifth quarter.
Hey, thank you. So I'm just wondering how many years more is it going to take for the Blazers to learn how to close out a game that it becomes a potential trap game instead of what happened? I mean, I'm so almost decades sick of seeing this happen over and over and over again. They go away from what put them in the position of being up big. They start playing the ISO or hero ball, and then they just watch the other team out hustle them and chip away and chip away and chip away, and then suddenly, oh no, we lost. And I could almost hear Powell and Rocco over there saying, oh yeah, just stick with it because I played with these guys and they're gonna crack, they're gonna fold.
They probably did.
I mean, I don't see how they don't get their minds conditioned to not slack off when they get up big and just keep hustling and playing the way they were. I mean, I know they've done it to other teams also, but there's no excuse. And the real thing that hurts is that they weren't at full strength and we got embarrassed on national television like that.
That is the stressful part, right, Lance? As I said, the Blazers were without Dame, right? So it's an excuse, whatever. But the Clippers were without their version of Dame, their Ant, their Jeremy Grant. They were missing studs, right? And they went out and took care of business. And that's why this win, maybe we're overreacting, I don't care. But that's where this win can get just a little bit frustrating because you would have hoped that the Blazers could go take care of business against a team like this, even without Dame, as you said, close a game out, especially in the fourth quarter.
Well, that's it. We don't need Dame as much with this team because they have more depth now and the role players and the guys who are willing to step up. And it's just frustrating. I love them to death, but thankfully I drive cab and it's been slow enough. I was able to drive around and scream and rant and rave, and so I didn't get on here and curse and get kicked off. So thanks for taking my call.
Yeah. Lance, I'm a weirdo. If I jumped into your cab and you ranted and raved about a Blazer game you were listening to, I'd be like, dude, this cab is it. This is the cab I want to ride with. This is awesome. Yeah, I want to get in the cab with the guy listening to Blazer games and getting upset if they're losing. That's the cab for me, Preston.
You know what he said? I don't know if this guy's gonna be a regular or not, but he said Lance in the cab, and I was like, what? Lance in the cab, and I was like, all right, there we go.
Lance in the cab,
and now I understand what he meant by that. I couldn't tell if he was saying cabin or what. But
you put down on my list. You're like Lance in the Caribbean. Lance in Cabo.
Lance in some cabin in the woods.
Right. All right, Preston. There were some highlights in this one. I know people don't want to believe it, but there were, and it's time to play one of them. It's time for our shot of the night.
It's time for the Nothing But Net Shot of the Night here on the fifth quarter, 620 Rip City Radio. The Nothing But Net Shot of the Night is brought to you by Oregon Dungeness Crab. Sustainably harvested, uniquely delicious, and always wild. Oregon Dungeness Crab always sounds good for dinner.
Part three on the way, short. Rebound is picked up, loose by Jeremy Grant, tracked it down in front of Coffey. Now to Simons, wide open deep three, got it! Anthony Simons has 28, and the Blazers lead it 83-65.
There you have shot of the night. Oh, it was a beautiful. There was good shots, at least through three quarters, Preston. There was good shots. I think there was some good drives, too. And it's time for that one to see the light of day. It's time for the drive of the night.
It's time for the Portland Trailblazers Drive of the Night here on the fifth quarter, hosted by Chad Dewing, 620 Rip City Radio. Drive of the Night is brought to you by Dick's Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram of Wilsonville, ready to compete with the lowest prices in town.
Coffee turns the corner to the elbow, navigates his way into the paint, has a shot blocked by Nurkic, picked up by Hart, races across the timeline, gives it to Grant, one-on-one with Morris to the rim, and stuffs it home. Blazers lead 72-57.
Grant threw that thing down like it was a volleyball.
That's my favorite part of that call. Grant threw that thing down like it was a volleyball.
Like a volleyball, man. Spike it.
God, Jeremy Grant with his height, his length, he would make a machine there at the net. On the
Oh, my
volleyball
gosh. Yeah.
court. I love it. That's a great call. Holton was, if you were listening on radio, not TNT tonight, right here on Rip City Radio 620, your home of the Portland Trailblazers, you got some good ones. Holton was in rare form tonight, man. He was bringing the jokes all night long.
Yeah. He was dialed in. God, I can't remember what he said earlier. I love the volleyball call, though. Yeah, him and Travis are awesome, man. They're a great team.
Yes, they are fun. All right, our friends over there on YouTube, don't go anywhere. We still got a little bit more fifth quarter coming up there, streaming on YouTube. If you're not over there, go head that way. Find it at Rip City Radio on YouTube. on YouTube. We're there, I promise. We're streaming over at Rip City Radio on the YouTube, trying to grow this bad boy. You can find me on Twitter at Chris J. Burkhart. Preston, where can they find you?
At PC_Highfield. That is HIE Field.
There you go. PC_Highfield. Go follow him. He's kind of new here. He's been here for a few weeks now. He's killing it for us. Questions. People are, again, they're loving my choice of elevator music. And I pointed out, everyone who listens to Rip City Drive knows because I can't say it enough, but I pointed out I'm a band geek at heart, so I got good tunes.
Yeah.
I have high standards in my music. Rachel asked Chris, what instrument did you play in the marching band? Well, all through high school, I played alto saxophone. At the University of Oregon, I played alto saxophone for a year, and then I was the drum major. I sat on the ladder and conducted all the songs.
Dang.
I led the band out on the field. My very last show was the halftime entertainment at the BCS national title game against Auburn.
That is sick.
That's why
God.
I have that feather in the cap, and I always love to tell it because it's pretty cool
story. No one can take that away from you.
Yeah, and you make good friends back then. The Just Two Fans podcast, that I host with two of my good buddies from college who were also Oregon marching band members. So
there you go.
Yeah, marching band geeks unite. All right, the Blazers fall tonight to the Clippers, 118-112, but they weren't the only basketball game to play in the NBA tonight. It's time to take you around the NBA with your scoreboard report.
The fifth quarter on 620 Rip City Radio presents the Scoreboard Report, brought to you by the Stadium Sports Bar and Grill, A-Lene's ultimate venue for sports fans every Monday night, featuring beer and wing specials and more.
All right, as I said, Blazers played host to the Clippers, fell 118-112. Reggie Jackson, 24 points, 7 rebounds, 12 assists. Anthony Simons led the Blazers with 37 points. In Dallas, the Warriors fall 116-113. Steph Curry, 32 points. Luka Doncic, an unreal triple-double, 41 points, 12 rebounds, 12 assists. I mean, I think Jason Kidd said after the game, it's just getting boring watching him do these things. It's unreal.
Dude, he is completely different. I think I saw he matched Dirk Nowitzki for sixth most 40-point games.
Wow.
It's insane. He is different.
All right, and then in Detroit, the New York Knickerbockers, who the Blazers did beat on this road trip, pick up a blowout 140-110 victory over the Pistons. Stewart with 19 points to lead the Pistons. Randall leads the Knicks with 36 points and 7 rebounds. But the NBA, even though they were playing, wasn't the most important score of the day, as USA 1-0 over Iran to advance to the round of 16 in the World Cup. Christian Pulisic, as the Portland Pickle tweeted, gave up his pickle for the United States of America.
Was that what happened?
Well, he went.
I saw the play.
He got the winning score, and
yeah.
His head just hit the goalie. The leg went right into the nether region.
Yeah,
he is out with a contusion.
Right into the egg roll.
Yes. Yes.
Right into where the sun don't shine.
Yeah, that's but that is your report around the NBA and around the world. Team USA, baby. Good job.
USA, right. Man, America.
Yeah, there you go. All right, Preston. What do the Blazers need to do back to back, taking on the Lakers? What do you want to see tomorrow night?
Man, maybe you put whoever is your most explosive offensive weapon, not named Jeremy Grant or Ant. So maybe Josh Hart after that at the moment in terms of guys who are healthy. Man, maybe bring him off the bench. They need some kind of punch off the bench. Their defense isn't there. I think it's because the team doesn't have a ton of energy. They've been playing 3 to 4 players off the bench for a long time now. You see some NBA teams play up to 10 guys off the bench some nights, or 8 to 10. Like, Blazers just have limited health, limited depth, man. So let it fly. The Lakers are still the Lakers. They're not very good. They're getting better, but they just lost to the Pacers at home, so a very winnable game. Yeah, man, just keep letting it fly and try to get some production off the bench.
Yeah, tomorrow, Blazers, Lakers, 7:30 tip pregame with Mike Lynch will be at 6:30, and I will be back here at 5 o'clock to host Game Day. Chad Doing will be out. He's waking up bright and early, filling in for Justin Myers in the morning show. Then Myers is coming in, hosting Rip City Drive from 3 to 5, and then yours truly will be back here with my man Preston getting you ready for Blazers Lakers. To our friends on YouTube, we got to let you go because remember all that explaining I did about copyright-free music and all that? I got to let you go. We're going to wrap a bow on this one. We'll be right back out tomorrow. So thank you for joining. And if you're out there listening and haven't already, jump on YouTube, like, share, subscribe, follow us over there. It's a fun time. The community is great.